Shit. For real.
Well, let me fight with this bag,
Wait, his last name is Savage?
Oh yeah. Cody Savage. Don't seem like senseless. Hey, that nigga lived up to his name. That nigga lived up to his name, yeah. You can
hear us? You want to turn it down now?
You can turn it down. They can't hear us when we talking while it's playing. It should be too loud. That's why we telling y'all niggas to pause it. Y'all don't want to talk.
Kabani Savage, born
Is that what?
He was getting busy, huh?
Clearly. You got 13 life sentences.
January 1st, 1975, was raised in the Richard Island Projects in North Philly, which was one of the toughest housing projects in the city. Before moving to the Hunting Park section, he attended Frankfort High School, but he wouldn't make it past the 9th grade. He ended up dropping out. He was heavily influenced by his father, Joe, who was already knee-deep in the drug business by the time Kabani was born, and his father's business partner, Bubby Thomas. By the time Kabani dropped out of 9th grade, his father was diagnosed with cancer, and Bubby Thomas eventually took him in as his new partner. During this time, Savage took up the gym and had shown promise as a young boxer. He got his start working at the Front Street Gym in North Philly, and later attended a boxing camp run by promoter Don King, his mother told the Philadelphia Daily News in 2004. Kabani Savage, a junior welterweight, briefly turned pro in 1997. Was 15-0 as an amateur, whose best punch was a quick left jab. Sid's sister and fellow convicted murderer Kadada Savage. Records indicate that Savage won his only pro fight. He began his career in illegal drug trafficking around the same time.
Gotta live up to your name, bro. Savage.
How did it sister?
I need her. Free her. Free the Savages.
His only pro fight. He began his career in illegal drug trafficking around the same time in the early to mid 90s by being a block runner. Savage found that he had a knack for the hustle and was outselling his counterparts and quickly made a name for himself. Before long, he was peddling PCP by himself, selling mostly out of his mother's house on Darien Street. Before long, he was a distributor of PCP in various forms, as well as marijuana, crack, and coke. He had connections with numerous dealers who controlled drug corners in the vicinity of Erie Avenue in North Philadelphia.
That little Tekka song was his shit.
Deal marijuana, crack, and coke. He had connections with numerous dealers who controlled drug corners in the vicinity of Erie Avenue in North Philadelphia. For a time, he was in partnership with the Erie Ave mob. By the late 1990s, Savage had come into his own. He was in control of 4 or 5 blocks, dealing in multiple kilos of coke at a time. As his sales increased, Savage began to dilute the drug and then recompress it to increase the quantity. His profit margin rose accordingly. In the early 2000s, one of Savage's main players was Eugene Twin Coleman. Coleman helped distribute to various individuals in the group and also handled proceeds from drug sales. Savage's inner circle included enforcers who carried out Savage's commands without hesitation. Among the enforcers were Kareem Bluntly and Lamont Poppy Eye Lewis. Although loyal to Savage for a time, Coleman and Lewis eventually cooperated with the government prior to their respective guilty pleas in February 2004 and April 2011. Both testified at Savage's 2013 trial about the operations of the KSO and its use of violence, and that violence was often deadly. The Kabani Savage saga would quickly spiral out of control. 4 federal indictments ended up coming out this story, along with city officials getting caught up as well. I'll be here for hours trying to break down everything that went down in these cases. So many names, faces, and characters are involved, and I literally don't have enough time to go through and explain it all. We would be here for hours, so a lot of names.
Demon thing.
Demon thing.
Yeah, we ain't respecting that though. Killing not the kids. Yeah, not the kids. Nigga probably probably ran up in somebody's crib, dunked them. Everybody.
He said everybody gotta go.
Man, them little kids can't tell nothing, man.
You didn't give a fuck.
They can't say shit, man. They can't identify who did it. That should be nothing at trial. The little kids like, he did it. They gonna look at the fucking baby. You don't know. Yeah, that would have been nothing in trial. You could have let the kids live, nigga. Smoke them bitches though. I'm not condoning none of this. This shit ain't right. It ain't right. It is not right, but I'm saying, dude wasn't playing. Dude said, nah, these little niggas might tell too.
You think he was on that shit?
He probably was on that dust he was selling.
Things and elements of this tale are going to be left out for time's sake. I think I got the most important and relevant info possible, however. What turned Kabani Savage's tale from a drug kingpin to one of the most notorious names in Philadelphia history started with a single incident that happened in March 1998. Tobias Flowers was another big name in North Philly in the 90s. Along with 8th and Pike and 9th and Pike, Flowers' main corner was the notorious 8th and Butler.
Butler is a very tough corner.
In March of 1998, when Savage was in the vicinity of Tobias's drug corner on 8th and Butler, a man by the name of Kenneth Lassiter, a barber from Lansdowne, in town to visit a friend, accidentally bumped into Savage's car. A confrontation ensued, and Savage demanded that Lassiter pay for the damage. Despite Lassiter's apology, Savage allegedly said something to the effect of, "Does anyone know this guy?" to a couple of people, including Flowers, who was out there on that fateful March afternoon. When no one said yes, Savage pulled a gun out and shot him once. Lassiter died from the gunshot wound. Flowers witnessed the murder. Flowers and Savage had somewhat of an uneasy alliance and were kind of respected enemies. They sold in the same area, but they managed to keep it cordial until this incident shattered that illusion. By committing murder on Flowers' corner, authorities argued that Savage was able to shut down Flowers' drug dealing. A murder brought police, and a police presence made drug dealing impossible. Eventually, Flowers got his business back up and running, but he never forgot, and that may have been one of the reasons he agreed to testify for the DA's office against Savage, who was indicted for the Lassiter murder. Both men were from North Philadelphia. Both had been professional boxers. Flowers' decision to cooperate, while in theory a violation of the code of the street, was viewed by many as an act of revenge for what Savage had done on his corner.
Wow, that's some whole shit.
Flowers,
technically, he's not really in the field because he's a boxer.
Bro, they was drug dealers. That's his block, nigga.
Oh,
that's why
he's
he's
a
mad.
drug dealer
Yeah,
first.
he's a drug dealer. They both drug dealers.
I'm gonna tell you because I
okay,
can't get next to you.
okay.
Because I can't get next to you.
Yeah, he said they was both respected drug
That's some
dealers
wild shit,
and
bro.
the same shit.
I'm gonna tell you because I can't touch you. I'm gonna tell you.
That nigga's a bitch.
declined the DA's office offer for protection. He stayed on the streets, and on March 1st, 2004, on that same 8th and Butler corner, he was shot 17 times. The shooting occurred just 2 days before Savage was to go on trial for murder. This started a pattern of witnesses and potential witnesses who worked directly for Savage disappearing.
That's all it takes. That's all it takes. If it's a bunch of witnesses there, all it takes for one witness to get knocked off. Everybody else like, I'm not going to court. Nope. Nope. He don't got to go kill all the witnesses. It's over. You killed that nigga, and they everybody know he telling like, hey, what? Yeah, niggas ain't coming. They don't know. Them niggas gonna kill me, nigga. No, it's over, nigga. I ain't going to court. Them niggas smoke buddy ass, nigga. Nah, I ain't going to court. Yeah, I ain't gonna play with me.
I'm good.
This is what the state says happened. Mansur Abdullah belonged to the Savage family. and he and Savage would supply each other with coke, according to court records. It was Savage who first taught Abdullah how to dilute and recompress it, which eventually raised the suspicion in Savage's mind that Abdullah was overcharging him years down the line. In September of 2000, Abdullah visited Savage to collect the debt. Savage paid him in cash, placed in a red sneaker box. He then told Kareem bluntly to go with Abdullah back to his crib under the disguise that he was to provide protection because of the robberies that had recently taken place. Bluntly was strapped. Coleman was told to pick up Bluntly soon afterwards. When Coleman and Bluntly returned a half hour later, Bluntly handed Savage the red sneaker box with the cash still inside. Although Bluntly had carried out the instruction to shoot Abdullah, he was unsure if Abdullah was actually dead. Savage instructed Coleman to find out. Coleman followed orders and later confirmed that he saw Abdullah slumped over in his car. The car was later found set on fire with Abdullah inside. Carlton Brown was another victim of multiple gunshot wounds to the head and chest. Although Brown was a member of the Savage family, Savage suspected Brown of killing Savage's good friend, Ronald Walston. Savage instructed Lewis that he, quote, had to do it, which Lewis understood to mean he had to kill Brown. Lewis obeyed and Brown was killed. Lewis also murked Barry Parker on Savage's orders. It appeared Parker was attempting to take over Stephen Northington's drug corner, so Northington complained to Savage, his supplier. Savage replied to Northington that nobody come and take nothing. You have to handle your business. This is what we do. On February 26, 2003, at Savage's command, Lewis left Savage's house with Northington. They saw Parker at the drug corner. Lewis then shot Parker several times in the chest, effectively eliminating Northington's competence. They saw Parker at the drug corner. Lewis then shot Parker several times in the chest, effectively eliminating Northington's competition.
2 days after the Parker murder, Kabani's
That's what you call killing the competition.
Yeah. Move.
Fuck who got the best work, nigga. Nike move. That's how you kill the competition. Fuck who got the best work, nigga. We just gonna pack you up out of here. But now let me start before I even start. I'm not. Rest in peace to everybody that died and all that. I'm just, we just watching this, be entertained. We don't mean no disrespect to nobody that passed.
Savage was sentenced in a state court on a cocaine possession charge. He had pled guilty and got 18 months of probation. He had yet to face a jury for the murder of Kenneth Lassiter, the broad daylight killing at 8th and Butler.
Clearly, Savage did not hesitate to protect his organization by getting rid of those who threatened to interfere with his network. He also had no qualms about murdering those he believed were cooperating with law enforcement. In March of 2003, Savage suspected that Tyrone Tolliver, who was Eugene Coleman's friend, was going to cooperate. When Tolliver had difficulty filling a coke order, he looked to Savage to supply him. Although Savage did not have any on hand, he agreed to help and directed Coleman to take Tolliver to Coleman's apartment where the organization regularly recompressed cocaine. Bluntly arrived at the apartment shortly thereafter. To Coleman's surprise, Bluntly shot Tolliver in the head. At Savage's direction, Bluntly and Coleman disposed of the body. In addition to the benefit of eliminating someone Savage thought was a snitch, the Tolliver murder allowed Savage to put some dirt on Coleman. Coleman knew a lot about the KSO's operations, and everyone thought Coleman was weak, and if he got into some trouble, he would tell. Around this same time, in a further effort to assure the loyalty of those closest to him and to stop any thoughts his allies might have of cooperating with law enforcement, Savage, along with Lewis and 2 other high-ranking members of the KSO, made a pact. Basically, the men agreed that if any one of them cooperated with law enforcement, quote, their mother's lives would be in danger, unquote. Although Coleman wasn't there when the deadly pact was made, Kabani made sure that Coleman learned of it. In 2004, Savage was prosecuted for Lassiter's murder. While jailed awaiting trial, Savage continued to intimidate and threaten others with retaliation if he suspected that they were working with the government. First, Savage set his sights on eyewitness Tobias Flowers, the prosecution's main witness. Savage told Lewis, who was also in jail, that he was not worried because Flowers would never make it to court. Savage made similar remarks to another prisoner, according to court papers. Savage's prophecy came true when Flowers was killed in a shower of bullets as he sat in his car outside of his aunt's house the night before trial. While there were no eyewitnesses, Northington later told a fellow prisoner of his disdain for snitches and disclosed that he had slumped Flowers and sent him to rat heaven. Savage, too, revealed that he had played a part in Flowers' murder, advising the same fellow prisoner that he had, quote, spanked the case and would be released soon. Savage's brutal efforts paid off. Lacking Flowers' testimony, the prosecution floundered and Savage was acquitted of Lassiter's murders. He was released from Philadelphia County Prison on April 8, 2000.
He caught that body because a nigga bumped into his car. That's crazy. Nigga, you know a nigga angry. That one killer caused mad killers. Because a nigga bumped his car, that shit just...
Anybody know this nigga?
But within a week, federal authorities arrested him on drug trafficking and other charges. See, the original 1998 killing of Kenneth Lassiter was what originally put Kobani on the Fed's radar. And even before this trial, people began telling on the organization, and that attracted higher than usual attention from law enforcement. Even while detained, Savage continued to direct.
Nigga said, once he killed that nigga, that put him on the Fed radar. So that means they wasn't even worried about him.
Yeah, because niggas started snitching. Niggas was scared, so niggas started snitching. The Fed started building that case.
Nigga went to them, they like, yo, bro, let's get that nigga killed that little boy because his mom just called.
I want to see the statements.
Word.
Attention from law enforcement. Even while detained, Savage continued to direct the KSO's operation from his jail cell. He was heated that Coleman, who was also in jail, was assisting the prosecution. He told anybody and everybody who would listen about Coleman. Coleman received threats from other inmates who had connection to the KSO. While in a visiting room of the prison, Coleman saw Savage's sister, Kadada Savage. She encouraged him to not, quote, let these crackers break you, unquote. Kadada later wrote to Coleman, encouraging him not to reveal anything to federal agents, closing her letter with the statement, death before dishonor to your family. Coleman understood that that was meant to threaten his personal family, not members of the KSO. Later, when Coleman was in a holding cell in the federal courthouse, Savage and one of his associates were placed in an adjacent cell. An obvious setup by the feds, and Kobani took the bait or didn't care. Immediately, Savage spoke of getting rid of rats and told Coleman that his family should die as well. By this time, Savage had instructed Kadada to have Lewis firebomb Coleman's family home in retaliation for Coleman's cooperation, which was all recorded on wiretap.
This rat's gonna pay, man. I'm gonna be rich, his whole family tree. They kids got a pet for making my kids cry. I want 24-year-old sons in here with a bat. I'm a 24-year-old sons in here with a bat.
Kadada Savage was a big part of the orchestrating of business while her older brother was in jail awaiting trial. She would pass on the direction and shot calls from Kobani, and people definitely carried out whatever her and her brother wanted during this time. In a telephone call from prison on the evening of October 8, 2004, Savage spoke with both Kadada and Lewis. Lewis agreed to do anything Savage ordered, even if it meant, quote, kill somebody for him.
Yo, what's up? Nothing. What's going on? That's Poppy ass? Yeah. Alright, let me talk to him. What's up, man? How's it hanging, man? Hey, you know me, I'm still doing me. Look out for my family, man. Oh, man. You the only I got out there that's gonna go hard. That means right, man. All the way, dog. Exactly.
After the call concluded, Kadada relayed to Lewis the directive from Savage to firebomb the Coleman house. She instructed Lewis to torch the home late that night when everybody, including Coleman's mother and brother, would be there. Kadada drove Lewis to the block where Coleman lived and pointed out the house. She also informed him that guns and a pit bull may be inside. Lewis told Kadada that his cousin, Robert B.J. Merritt, would help him. Kadada promised Lewis $5,000 for doing the job. At around 4 a.m. the following morning, Lewis and B.J. Merritt took 2 cans filled with gasoline to Coleman's house. Lewis kicked in the door and fired his gun twice. Merritt lit and threw both cans into the house, causing an explosion. Fire then ravaged the structure, resulting in the death of all 6 occupants. Coleman's mother, Marcella Coleman, his infant son, Damir Jenkins, his twin brother's 15-year-old son, Sean Rodriguez, his sister, Regina Nash's 12-year-old son, Taj Porche, his cousin, Tamika Nash, who Coleman regarded as a sister, and Tamika's 10-year-old daughter, Khadijah. Acting on Kadada's instruction, Lewis called her and left a message that Savage's orders had been carried out. It was not until later that Lewis learned that 4 children had died in the fire. When Lewis confronted Kadada about the children in the house, Kadada responded to Lewis, quote, "F*** 'em." Kadada paid Lewis only part of the $5,000 she had promised. Merritt received a used car and $500. Later recordings of prison conversations between Savage and others demonstrated his involvement in the Coleman firebombing. They also revealed Savage's great satisfaction that the killings had taken place. The intercepted conversations revealed plans to kill yet another witness and their families.
And then he says, well, he's got to go. Why take a chance? And you say, if I was wrong, so be it.
Exactly.
And you're talking about killing witnesses.
At the time, yes.
Okay.
Coleman's a drug dealer, Lamont Lewis is a murderer. You can, as a defense attorney, challenge those guys, but you can't cross-examine that tape.
You said, them rats, they got to pay.
Exactly.
Savage's continued threats were troubling enough that in February 2007, the United States Attorney General authorized the Bureau of Prisons to impose special administrative measures restricting Savage's communications with others, including his family. In April of 2009, an indictment in this case was returned, naming Savage, Lamont Lewis, Robert Merritt, and Stephen Norvington as defendants. Savage was held at the federal...
That nigga went and told everything after he did that. Shit. He told everything after that. It's over, nigga. You killed my whole family, nigga. It's over.
Oh, nigga said that nigga did this.
Get something to this girl.
He told.
Detention center in Philadelphia during his trial. Jury selection for Savage's trial occurred in September of 2012. Lamont Lewis served as a star witness, testifying against Kabani and Kadada, as well as Merritt and Stephen Northington, among many others. The trial ended in a guilty verdict.
Lewis was a much better witness than I think the defense anticipated. It was bone-chilling at times to hear him go through specifics as to everything that he did in these murders.
Kids in there, I knew he was gonna tell because he pulled up like, yo, why you ain't tell me it was kids in there? You said that's a shortage. You said, fuck him. Once a nigga care, yeah, it might be over.
At times to hear him go through specifics as to everything that he did in these murders.
While describing the firebombing, the confessed murderer choked back tears over what he had done.
Everybody in the courtroom knew that he was speaking the truth.
In the end, it was Kabani Savage's own words that did the most damage.
And then he says, well, he's got to go. Why take a chance? And you say, if I was wrong, so be it.
Exactly.
And you're talking about killing witnesses.
At the time, yes.
On May 13, 2013, Savage was convicted of 12 counts of murder in aid of racketeering, as well as 1 count each of the following crimes: conspiracy to commit murder in aid of racketeering, conspiracy to participate in a racketeering enterprise, and retaliating against a witness by murder. In June 2013, Savage was given 13 death sentences.
The judge imposed 13 death sentences this morning against reputed drug pin Kabani Savage. Jurors unanimously approved the sentence for Savage last week. They had convicted the 38-year-old former boxer.
Just me, like, nigga, that's just, like, you know, these crackers be like over sentencing niggas, like, bro, like, you only die once, bro, like. You give it a nigga 13 life sentences, like, yeah, like a nigga about to come back to life, or like, come on, bro, it's over. Just give me life, bro.
That's torture.
Yeah, just give me life, bro. What's the 13 life sentences, bro? I'm gonna die. It is over. What the fuck is the other 12 for? What's the other 12 for? Like, yeah.
Just cause I could do that.
That's crazy. Like 12, like 13 life sentences is retarded.
They just
bro, I know niggas that got bro. Like, just give a nigga 25 to life. Make that should just be the most they could give you. 25 to life. They be giving niggas 60, 85 to life. Like, bro, I'm 40. 80 years, I'm done, nigga. What are you talking about? Like, give me 25 and give me a chance to get out. I might everybody, shit, bro. Never. Look, 25 years, bro. You can finish that. And you could become a new person. Like everybody deserve a second chance, bro. Man, 25, 15 is like I go with 15, but that ain't realistic. Just give niggas 25 to life and give them a chance. Cause you know you get 25 to life, that don't mean you come home after 25. You still gotta go to parole boards. But give a nigga, if you get 40 or 60 to life, you're not going to parole until 60 years is over. You probably dead, bro. Like that shit is mad.
Turned drug kingpin for the murders of 12 people, 6 of whom died in a firebombing he had ordered from prison. The 13th death sentence comes from a conviction for retaliating against a witness. The 2004 blaze targeted relatives of a witness who was planning to testify against Savage.
The sentences were formally pronounced by Judge Richard Barclay Surratt. Savage is currently incarcerated in ADX Florence, near Florence, Colorado. In May 2013, Kidada Savage was convicted of various crimes, including retaliating against witnesses and aiding racketeering. In February 2014, the judge imposed a sentence of life imprisonment plus a consecutive 10-year sentence. The life sentence was mandatory. Kidada Savage tried to delay the sentencing,
so
she got life and
plus 10.
Cause she got to do that time. That means her time is.
No, she has to die and then come back to life and do 10 years.
How the fuck is she gonna do that?
They do that to Manny Fresh from Yonkers.
It's on that right now. So come
Manny
back.
Fresh got like 33 plus life, not 33 to life. He got life plus 33. So you gotta do life and then die.
You gotta have a lot of time and come back.
You get 30. So yeah, if you die, come back to life, nigga. Yeah, nigga better stab me, nigga, and bring me back to life. Die, let me come back to life or something. Let my time start now.
You gotta resuscitate me, right?
Yeah, this is resuscitate me. Get me back to life, man. Let my time start now. What? They talk about life plus 30. It's crazy, bro.
So I come back after 10 more years, I'll be Gucci.
Yeah, life plus 10.
They might be
the judge denied the request. Kidada is now at FCI Tallahassee. Merritt was given a life sentence at USP Tallahassee. Denied the request. Kidada is now at FCI Tallahassee. Merritt was given a life sentence at USP Terre Haute. Lewis was given a 40-year prison sentence. Northington received a life sentence at USP Pullman.
He's a bitch, bro. You still got smoke. You told him still got smoke, and he going through it in the feds. Yeah, they don't play that rat shit in the feds. In the state, you could probably slide in the state. You could be ratting in the state, and niggas won't know. In the feds, niggas, as soon as you pull up, let me see your paperwork. They don't play that shit in the feds. As soon as you pull up, nigga, bring that paperwork, nigga. Yeah, you got 30 days, nigga. Or you out of here. Yeah, you got 30. That nigga probably got smoked. He probably got stabbed a few times already. He had to.
40-year prison sentence. Northington received a life sentence at USP Pullman.
It's free, nigga. I don't be feeling no way. I was talking, man. I was talking. Man, that's why these rats doing what they doing. It ain't his mom ain't gonna do with this shit. It's got everything to do with this.
Everything to do with this.
That's right. Mother Hattie, Mother Baby, and motherfucking, and her.
If this story doesn't steer you away from the streets, then nothing will. Here, you had a talented boxer, an athlete, an extremely capable businessman. He ended up putting all his talents in the worst business choice possible, selling drugs. As you see with the story of pretty much every drug dealer, there's only 3 ways this ends: death, jail, or becoming a star witness for the prosecution, which usually leads to death or jail time anyway. I don't know about you, but all 3
If I want to say free this nigga. Or, just hold your head, man. 13 of them is crazy. Shout out to American Confidential. Sweet.